Engines are the heart of our industrial machines. We expect our engines to be absolutely reliable, have a long life cycle, and be economical even under difficult operating conditions. Modern diesel engines are an expensive investment and well worth protecting. Mann and Hummel filters are perfectly able to handle this demanding task. Well-known engine manufacturers know this and appreciate Mann and Hummel as a development partner for all engine filtration requirements. Filters ensure the reliable functioning of the engine under all operating conditions. The failure of just one filter changes engine performance and fuel consumption and can lead to a machine stoppage. Air cleaners prevent ingress of dust from the ambient air into the engine. The engine is supplied with filtered air according to the manufacturer's specifications and so is able to breathe freely. Oil filters in the main oil circuit clean the blood of the engine. They remove particles from the oil resulting from combustion and engine wear. After separation, the cleaned oil reaches the fine bearing gaps and lubricating points. The oil in diesel engines is additionally exposed to constant contamination from soot. Therefore, larger industrial engines are usually fitted with centrifuges. These are able to considerably reduce the amount of soot contamination. Fuel is food for the engine. Modern diesel engines are equipped with ultra-sensitive injection systems, and it's important to protect these systems against ingress of particles and water. The pre-line preliminary fuel filter separates water from the fuel, and the main filter protects the injection system against the ingress of particles. Due to environmental considerations, more and more industrial engines are being equipped with cleaning systems for blow-by gases. The extensive experience of Mann and Hummel in this complex field makes the company a first-rate supplier. Diesel particulate filters contribute significantly to the eco-friendly operation of diesel engines. They considerably reduce emissions of breathable particles. Mann and Hummel is able to offer customized solutions for applications. Mann and Hummel filters are fine-tuned to work together and are developed in cooperation with leading engine manufacturers. The result is perfect protection for the engine and the environment, with a minimum of running costs. Combustion air always contains particles. These particles must not be allowed to penetrate the inside of the engine. Single-stage cleaners are suitable for applications subject to low amounts of dust. For larger amounts of dust, such as with off-road applications, two-stage cleaners are standard. In two-stage cleaners, most of the particles are separated in the first filtration stage by the pre-separator and discharged from the filter via the dust discharge valve, which considerably lengthens the service life of the filter element. The pre-cleaned air flows through the filter element and the optional secondary element to the engine. The secondary element prevents ingress of dirt into the engine when changing the filter element in the field. Mann and Hummel filters use filter media characterized by a high separation efficiency and high dust holding capacity. The high separation efficiency ensures that very small particles are also reliably separated in the depth of the filter medium. A high dust holding capacity means a long service life for the filter. Mann and Hummel filter media have a special impregnation which provides good protection against the ingress of moisture. The impregnation prevents water from penetrating the depth of the medium where swelling can render the medium unusable. The pleated bellows of Mann and Hummel air cleaners are stabilized to ensure that they maintain their shape under all operating conditions, allowing an ideal airflow. But even the best filter element eventually reaches the end of its service life and must then be replaced. In the ideal case, the cleaner is equipped with an optional service indicator or service switch. These devices signal the correct time to service the air cleaner based on the load status of the filter element. Servicing is limited to replacement of the main filter element. After approximately 3 changes of the main filter element, the secondary element should also be replaced. Cheap air cleaners are often already damaged when they leave the production. The low-quality medium used in cheap cleaners often tears, and this can allow unfiltered air to penetrate the engine. In the production process, the material is compressed. This leads to a reduction of the effective filtration surface area, with a correspondingly lower dirt holding capacity. It is difficult to recognize inadequate impregnation in cheap filters when they're new. However, in operation, the elements take on moisture, and as a result, the unprotected filter paper swells up and becomes wavy. Cheap filters often do not sufficiently stabilize the paper pleats, with the result that these stick together and then filtration surface area is lost. The airflow rate increases, the separation efficiency goes down, and the medium can tear. The bellows of cheap filters are frequently not closed. The pleats merely overlap, and this means a continuous bypass is inevitable. Cheap filters also cut corners with the type of sealing material used. When the low-quality material is exposed to engine vibration and temperature changes, it loses its required elasticity. Cracks form, and unfiltered air can penetrate the engine. With air cleaners from Mann and Hummel, you're on the safe side. Oil performs 2 important functions in engines. Firstly, it lubricates all the moving parts, and secondly, during engine operation, it conducts heat from combustion and friction to the engine cooling circuit. For the oil to perform these functions, it has to be continuously cleaned through separation of abrasive particles contained in combustion gases, which flow past the piston, called blow-by gases. Oil filtration includes the main flow and the bypass flow. Each engine is equipped with a main filter, and larger industrial engines are also fitted with a centrifuge as a bypass filter. The main filter filters the oil, which goes directly to the lubrication points in the engine. The centrifuge in the bypass flow only receives a part of the oil flow and separates particularly fine particles from soot and abrasive metal. In industry, spin-on filters are frequently used for the main filter due to their robustness and easy servicing. Oil flows into the filter head, and with a twin head system flows equally to both spin-on filters. When one filter is changed, the oil flow is switched to the other filter. The task of filtration is handled by the deep bed medium. Initially, with an engine cold start, the oil is viscous. In order to avoid an inadmissible high rise in pressure, Each oil circuit has a bypass valve somewhere in the circuit. It opens at a predefined differential pressure level and closes again when the oil becomes less viscous as the temperature increases. In the course of operation, the filter accepts dirt particles, and this causes the differential pressure over the filter to increase. The filter must always be changed according to the specifications of the engine manufacturer. If there is no specification, we recommend fitting a service switch or service indicator into the filter head. If the filter is fitted in a vertical position, it can be fitted with an anti-drain valve to prevent the filter emptying when the engine stops. Bad quality filters are packaged attractively and are difficult to recognize as inferior. Cheap filters do not take the balance between dirt holding capacity and filter fineness into account. Insufficient dirt holding capacity results in a shortened service life or inadequate filter fineness. The filter medium is simply not able to handle the stress of the oil circuit. It becomes brittle prematurely, can tear, and the engine is exposed to unfiltered oil. Elastomers become brittle and lose their sealing characteristics, leading to a visible loss of oil and internal invisible bypasses at the bypass valve. At the bypass valve, a low-quality spring leads to a continual opening of the valve. If the bypass valve opens too late, this will sooner or later lead to damage in the oil circuit and leaks will occur. It is not uncommon for the bypass valve to have no guiding right from the start and to block already when new. If cost cutting also results in a substandard center tube, differential pressure will build to an inadmissible level and lead to a collapse of the filter element and total failure of the filter. Cheap filters save money with the housing, and this compromises reliability. The consequences of a burst filter are fatal for the engine. Internal values not necessarily visible from the outside are of particular importance for oil filters. Mann & Hummel produces filters in OEM quality as standard, and this gives you the security of knowing that your engine is reliably protected. Small particles in oil arising from metal abrasion or soot can also cause wear. Piston liners are covered by a thin film of oil to enable smooth running of the pistons. The oil is maintained on the fine surface structure of the liners. Ultrafine particles in the lubricating oil act like sandpaper and destroy the surface through smoothing, and as a result, the running characteristics of the pistons deteriorate. Another effect is that more exhaust gas can enter the crankcase and the amount of blow-by gas in the engine increases. Fine particles also lead to wear in the main bearings when the engine starts and stops if the lubricating film has not sufficiently formed. A further effect is that ultrafine particles lead to increased oil viscosity. Oil thickens and is harder to pump. The result is inadequate engine lubrication and higher fuel consumption. Finally, the effectiveness of the oil